Hey guys, Rage here, and today we will be working on another project of Lee's artwork. And you guys can probably already see by the thumbnail what this image is going to turn out to look like. So let's just get started. So this is going to be the landscape that I'd like. So you're going to press Ctrl V to paste this image in. And then you can see how there's the little white box, it doesn't quite fill it. You can press Ctrl T. And if you're on the newer version, it'll automatically select whatever you want, but if you hold shift, then you can manipulate it to however you want. But if you're on the older version of Photoshop, then you're gonna have to, it'll be the opposite for you. It's gonna move around like that, and then if you want it to go kind of like this, then you'll have to hold shift. So we'll put that back. And what we're going to want to do is you can press L for the lasso tool, or you can just click on it, and once you have it selected, you're going to want to trace around him and around his shadow, just like I'm doing. And then once you have that there, you're going to want to hold shift and then press backspace. Then you're going to want to have contents aware selected, and everything like this must be correct. Then you press OK. And as you can see, this guy has been removed from our background. So this is going to be our background for the image. And because this is black and white, I don't want it to look like that. So I'm going to go down to the layer mask, grab hue saturation, and click colorize. I kind of want this to be orangey type of desert, so we'll turn it like this, and then once it's done like that, we're going to want to have this selected and press Ctrl I to invert it. Then we're going to want to go to brush, hold Alt, then you can expand it by holding Alt, clicking right click, and then dragging, and then you're going to want to have white selected. You want your opacity to flow all the way up, and then you're just going to draw the colors back in. Then you can zoom out and it should just set itself back up. And I probably don't want this background, so like for the sky. So I'm gonna go grab a sky. Alright, so I found the sky that I like. When you find it and copy it, then you press Ctrl V, and it should paste it right in. You can press Ctrl T, and then mask it out the way you'd like it to look. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a layer mask onto it. So once you're done here, you press enter. And then once you have this layer selected, you're going to want to press add layer mask. Now this time you won't have to invert it. What we're going to do is we're going to have black selected, and then we're just going to erase it away. Erase what we don't want away. Then if you want, you can turn your opacity down a bit. Don't put it down to 0 or else you won't be able to see it at all. And then we will zoom in a bit, and we're gonna just want to erase. So if we zoom out like that, we're gonna just want it to go over like that. Then we'll turn the opacity down until it's good, and then we can start erasing again. turn the opacity up a bit, and then we're going to want to press Control T, zoom out a bit more. We can extend it just a bit more, hold Shift, go down just a bit, and then there we go. Now we have two images turned into one. And if you'd like, we can also right click and warp it, and we can kind of extend it to go up a bit. So this can get looking weird, but zoom in. Now we kind of have our image here. If you don't want that, then you don't have to do it, but I'll make my brush a little harder and just even out the edges a bit. Alright, there we go. I kind of trimmed it out a bit more, and now we're gonna find the image of our monster. Now we're going to go into New in the top, and we'll press Control V, and we're going to want to quick select our monster. Alright, once we're done cutting our monster out, we're gonna click, drag, and then plop them into this image. Then you can Control T, and then make them whatever shape you'd like. And then we're gonna want to kind of make him look like he's part of the image. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our eraser tool, and we're going to want to kind of just make it look like he's in the sand. And once it looks like he's part of the image, for the most part, we can go down to Layer Mask, Hue Saturation, and then we can colorize. But we'll want it, click this thing to link it, and now you can see that only this will change. If it's not unlinked, you can see the difference. So we'll want to link it to that layer. We're going to want to change him to like that type of color. So maybe an orangier. And then we can go back, and then this can be the color of your snake, which is what I'm gonna kind of do. Maybe I might change the underbelly part to make it look a little brighter. So in order to do that, we're gonna have to go to and add another hue saturation layer. Click colorize. We can make, we want it linked again. We can make it more of a yellowy. And then we're gonna go back, click Control I, and then we're gonna grab our brush. We can zoom in, and we can draw in the yellow part. And that's our snake for now. Now we're gonna want to put our guy, our warrior, down here. Alright, so we have our warrior. This is the warrior that we'd like here. We can go here, then select him. Right, then we're going to want to grab our guy, move him over here, then paste. So we can transform him, shrink him a bit. Then we're going to want to grab the eraser tool again. We can shrink it a bit, and erase his foot to make it look like he's actually in the picture. And now he looks like he's somewhat in the picture, but not really. So what we're going to want to do is go into your brush tool, select your black. Then we can also turn the opacity down. We're going to want to create a new layer for this guy. So go down to the bottom right, click create new layer. Alright, so we can press Ctrl T, zoom in, scroll down. Then we can right click and warp. So we can warp it into however we'd like. So we can kind of do it like this. And then once you're satisfied with his footing, which I am not, so I'm going to completely redo shadow. So once you're done with the shadow that you like, then move on to the next step. Alright, once you're done with his shadow, then we can move on to the next step and click on him, have his layer selected, go to hue/saturation, colorize, link it to the layer, and we can colorize him a bit. Like, we don't want him orange, but we kind of want him to have that type of color to it. So then we can go next, and then we can also do some whatever it's called shadows to the snake here. So we'll be right back. Alright, so I use the burn tool, which is this tool right here, to make kind of a darker area here. And I made a darker area here. I changed the shadow, made darker areas just here and there, and if you'd like, you can also use the dodge tool. You can use the dodge tool to lighten things up top, and right here, lighten some things up. Just bring life to the image a bit. There you go. Alright, so then you can also add whatever you'd like into this image. You can what's called a blur. So if we select our sky layer, you can go into filter and then blur. Then you can do what I would probably do would be using the Gaussian blur. And then we're gonna want to zoom out a bit. Alright, so we can have the sky. very blurry, but you can see in the background how it's changing. So this is nothing, and then we'll add a bit of blur, so don't want it too crazy. 3.4 should be alright. So you can see how it's all blurred out kind of. The main focus is here. And then you can also grab the blur tool, and you can make it bigger. And we're going to want to select this layer. You can kind of just blur the background out a bit. Kind of bring the attention towards the fight instead of the background as much. You kind of just have a blur everywhere. So now that's all blurred out. Then you can kind of zoom in, and I kind of just want to keep this edge in, but I want to erase, or not erase, but blur everything else behind that little ledge. Kind of just like that. And then we can also do some sort of Venom type thing coming out of his mouth. So you can always go to brush, and then you can create your own brush tool. So if we file new, and then it doesn't really matter what you use, we can go to clipboard, and then we can create a lasso tool, and then just kind of like a little thing out like that. And then you can always also hold shift as well. We can do little ball type things, the acid. And then what we can do after is we can fill it in with whatever color we would like. And then I kind of want a lime green type of color, kind of like this, but you can make it a bit darker. And then fill it. Now that it's all filled in, you can go to edit. Then you can go to define brush preset, and then you can name whatever you'd like. So we can do Venom 1, it's okay. Then here we will have our Venom Brush. I don't think it's loaded in yet, but so we're going to want to create a new layer, drag it all the way to the front. Then you can see it now. We have our flow. So now we kind of have a Venom type thing, and if you want, you can right click it and rotate it. Then it should be rotated downwards a bit. Have it spraying out just like this. Maybe we will want to add the Venom again. And then just have it kind of coming down on him. Kind of just like this. Alright, so next what you're going to want to do is press Ctrl-Shift-E. So this will make it all into one layer. Then once you have that layer selected, go into Filter, and you're going to want to go into Camera Raw Filter. Just give that a second to load. And then what you're going to want to do is go into the basic, and then you can play around with how much you want it and how much you don't, until it suits whatever you want. And then once that's done, you can press OK, and then you can see the difference. And alright guys, so this should be your finished product. There's one thing that I would change, is probably darkening the background a bit. And other than that, it's a pretty good image. So thank you guys for watching the tutorial, and I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.